No, I don't want to update my Apple Watch. Stop it. Know what they're thinking. I have a bone to pick with some of you guys. Not you guys in chat. Like everyone in chat, you guys are amazing and awesome. But those kids who are watching, not in chat. So I'm working on the moving up ceremony video, you know, and I have to. It's a lot of work. I got to go through every single kid's moving up ceremony slide. I got to turn it into a JPEG image. Two things, okay? One, like 20% of the kids, we're talking like 30 kids didn't do it. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, because now I'm going to do it, and I don't hear any complaints. I'm speechless. Second, make it look good. Like, some of you guys, the pictures you picked, they're blurry. Like, I don't understand what you're thinking. You're old enough to know, fellas and ladies. Like, make your stuff look good. Some kids, like Matt Albino and Julia Ramada and the Spencers, like, you guys look nice, right? Other kids, you gotta put some care into it, fellas. But it is what it is, and I don't want to hear any complaints, because you had like 3 weeks to get it in. Like, so if mom and dad decide to call me up because they see the moving up ceremony video and they want to know why your picture is crummy, I'm pointing the finger at you. At you. Oh, Ryan, you might not care what you look like, but I'll tell you who does. Mama Standard and Papa Standard. That's who does. So it's for them. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to y'all? It's for them. Okay? I got a bunch of kids who didn't do it either. Like, I'm sending you messages on Google Classroom. Better get it in, like, now. Because otherwise you're going to miss the boat. And I'm going to try to get a weird photograph from the yearbook or something, but I don't even know if I have access to that stuff. So you guys better get on it. Check the straw poll. I'll check the straw poll. What's the straw poll about? Oh, my Lord. Well, the Brooklyn Dodgers don't exist anymore. That's too much. I'm not even voting. I'm not even going to vote. I voted, but I'm not telling you who I voted for. What do you think about that? Oh, yeah. Dante, how's your moving up slide, sir? Oh. You guys are stressing me out. Anyway, today's not going to be a super long lesson. Probably only going to go about 20 minutes because I have so much work to do. It's not even funny. Do you like my slide, James Didi? Yes, I did. I had to take the quote out, but I left all the golden leaf. I thought it looked good, sir. I left that one. Who is the worst hero in your opinion? Aquaman. Like, what? He talks to fish. Like, what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like, do something special. Did you like my? I don't even know Nikki Springtrap. Is that Nick Lyons? Yeah, I like your slide. Though Charlie Stewart, I had to take his picture out, and he needs to give me a new one because he took a picture of him like giving himself a selfie, and you couldn't even see his face. So I took that one out. Derek Mayer, yours was good. I don't think I got the 5th period, right, Derek? I haven't done your class yet, so I haven't necessarily looked. My mom picked my pictures, so I couldn't control the quality. Well, I bet you they're better than if you picked them, because your mom's awesome. So there you go. His bowcaster? Oh, you guys are talking about Star Wars heroes? Yeah, is C-3PO a hero? Because if he is, he's the worst. Or what about Jar Jar? Jar Jar's the worst. Like, he's just got that tongue. Like, no. Thumbs down for Jar Jar. Oh, James Didi, get out of my. You're getting left back after that comment. Forget AP, James Didi. You're going to 7th grade again. How funny would that be if it wasn't like Emperor Palpatine that came back? If it was Jar Jar the whole time, that would be amazing. All right, so today we're gonna go quick. Today we're gonna be talking about. I don't even know where I am. Hold on. There we go. Today we're going to be talking about 9/11, right? Yesterday we talked about terrorism. Today we're going to talk about what happened on that, like, life-changing morning of September 11th, 2001, which is before the birth of you people, which is interesting because I was 20 years old when 9/11 happened. I'm going to go quick because frankly, we know a lot about this already. We already know a lot about 9/11. And some of the questions I think that people have the most are just unanswerable, we know the answers, but we don't. Like, how did they do it? They hijacked planes, they organized it, they did it under our noses. We were unaware of all the planning. It took them months and months to plan for it. They had to send people to this country, and they paid them to take airplane flight lessons and all this crazy stuff. So there's that. There's also the why did they attack us? And that's they hate us, right? Al-Qaeda hated the West. And when I say the West, what I mean when I say the West is I was born in 1980. At the end, November 1980. So almost 81. When I say the West, what I mean is Western culture. So think about it. America was founded in England, right? We're an English colony, and then Spain was here, right? So Florida was, St. Augustine was founded by Spain, and then France with Louisiana, right? The Louisiana Purchase, New Orleans was all French. Quebec is French. England controlled, the rest of Canada, the 13 colonies. Then we're born from that. So when I say the West, what I mean is Western European culture. That's what I mean. I mean France, Germany, Italy, England, Ireland, the United States, the West, Canada. Even Australia would be considered the West, even though they're nowhere near the West. But they're considered the West because, again, it is an English colony, right? So when we talk about how Al-Qaeda hated the West, they hated democracy and liberalism and progressivism and the fact that, religion and state are separate and things like that. All right, so let's go. All right, 6:30 a.m. Everything is fine. Obviously, there are 3 major attacks that happen, right? We have one on Washington, D.C., which is the Pentagon, and a plane that tries to get into the White House but crashes in Pennsylvania, and then New York City. So it's 6:30 a.m. at the beginning of the workday on September 11th. Everything is pretty quiet. Yes, that is true. That is my son. He has my phone. All right. Of course, the airports are taking off, right? So you have some in Massachusetts and places like that, and they're taking off, and on the planes are hijackers. The hijackers are from Saudi Arabia in descent, but they're members of Al-Qaeda, and they've been trained and funded to take pilot lessons. One dude went to Florida, and he literally lived in Florida in an apartment for 6 months taking pilot lessons. Being paid for by Al-Qaeda terrorist group to learn how to fly the plane so that when they hijack the plane, he would know how to fly it into a plane. So this is a very premeditated attack. This is 8:14 a.m. The planes take off from the airports. There you go. One thing that's interesting, I think, is that they take the plane over. They don't have guns. They don't have swords or daggers or anything like that. They have box cutters, right? Which is a simple razor blade that people use, like UPS uses to open cardboard boxes with. So it's a tiny little razor blade, but they have this, and it's enough of a weapon that they can use fear and to take over. On top of that, on the plane, the history up to this point, throughout the 1980s and 1990s, when a plane was hijacked, it was like the movies, meaning that they would hijack the plane, they would hold the passengers and the plane ransom, and then they would give their demands. So the FBI would call them, and they would say, what do you want to release the hostages? And they would say, we want $1 million, wire $1 million to our bank account. And so this is usually the way that, terrorist groups were working up to this point on September 11th. So I think what happened is it's a lot of the airlines, people on the planes, they knew that they could probably overpower the hijackers, right? Because they only have box cutters and stuff like that. But they were taught up to that point to not, right? What you do is you stay safe, you stay seated, you do what they ask you to do, and then what happens is they all ask for their demands, and then eventually they'll release you, right? I don't think they were aware that the hijackers planned on having like a suicide flight into a building. If they did, then the people would have taken it, you know? It's always still on the screen, right? I always do that. Title screen. Where you at? Where you at, title screen? There we go. It's gone now. Here we go. Now, Pennsylvania, the flight that crashed in Pennsylvania is a little bit different because that was the last one, meaning that the planes had already crashed into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. And so they got in communication, the passengers got in communication with the land, and they found out that the planes were being crashed into buildings. And so that's when the people on the Pennsylvania airline that crashed, they decided to try to overtake the flight. And they did. And they saved a lot of people because that plane never made it to the White House. All right, 8:46 a.m. Of course, the planes hit the Twin Towers. This is the second flight is going to crash into the Twin Tower, the second plane. So you can see over here where my head is, by the way. Hold on. There you go. You can see over here, the first building's already on flame. The second building's hit. 9 a.m., I guess 9:02, the second plane. People in New York City, they're confused. That's the one thing. Another thing, like today in retrospect, I feel like we all know. What is that? What do we got there? Hold on. Got something on my monitor I got to take care of. Yeah, it's just an OBS. Is that an OBS? Yeah. That's weird. It's probably on the camera. No, not on the camera. That's weird. Anyway, people were shocked. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't know what was going on. I remember being alive and hearing about September 11th, and literally I was, like, we thought it was an accident. We thought, like, some drunk pilot flew into, it's on the green screen. It's in front of my face, though. It's right here. You see the line? Do you guys see the white line? You see it right there? Oh, yeah. What is that white line? What is that?
Probably just a scratch.
It's not a scratch. Scratch on what?
Your camera.
It's not a scratch on my camera. Cause look, it's not even on the. Like, if I disappear myself, it's still there.
Well, it's probably filming the green
Hold on. Oh, it's the starting. It was a piece of the starting. Anyway, not the point. The point is we fixed it. Now, everyone was confused. That's why they were standing like right under the building on the streets of Manhattan looking up, because they were like, what happened? You know, is there explosion? Everyone thought of, like, no one ever thought the idea of them hijacking anything like that. So here is a very famous photograph of people like falling out of the building, because on the top floors when the planes hit, the jet fuel and the explosion, and people would rather jump to get out of the heat, which is really tragic. But again, as bad as it is at this point, it's still not as bad as it's going to be, because nobody imagined that the buildings would collapse. And the buildings collapsed. Now, here's something that we don't hear about too often. This is a picture of the plane hitting the Pentagon, where something like 300 people died, which is a lot of people. That's almost the entire population of the St. Emergis Middle School. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people. I think it gets overshadowed because of the thousands of people who died at the World Trade Center. But a lot of people died at the Pentagon when a plane literally crashed on the lawn and slid right into the building of the Pentagon, which is like our headquarters for the military. Which you could see was only about 20 minutes after. Now, at this point, everyone knew we were under attack. They were confused. They didn't know how. The President of the United States was told, we're under a terrorist attack. And so now America is aware that we're under attack, which is different than today, because today we're at war in the Middle East. We're at war in Afghanistan. There's a lot of violence. There's ISIS. There's Al-Qaeda. There's terrorist groups. Back then, it wasn't like that. back then America wasn't at war, so it was kind of shocking that we would be, part of that. And of course, at 10:01, I believe it is, the Twin Towers, the second building, or the first building collapses, killing a lot of people. A lot of firefighters who rushed to the scene to try to rescue people were still in the buildings when they collapsed. A lot of police officers were still in the building. They were at the base of the building when it collapsed. And you have just thousands and thousands of tons of steel and concrete and building materials collapsing on. That people didn't stand a chance. Really horrible. And then because these two giant buildings collapse, other buildings in the World Trade Center circle, like the other buildings neighboring the World Trade Center, also start to collapse. And it's just a disaster. I remember for days, weeks after this, like buildings were falling apart in this area, and they weren't even cleaning up. They were like literally still picking through the rubble looking for survivors. And they actually found, like days after this, they found people that were alive that were buried in the rubble, which I can't even imagine. It's awful. It's awful. And now, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you drive around like Long Island and you go to like different fire departments or town halls, occasionally you'll see like a piece of iron, a piece of steel, like mangled steel. I know there's one in Shoreham Wading River, and when you look at it, it's actually a piece of the World Trade Center. People actually took pieces of the iron that was bent and mangled, and they use it as like a memorial for the World Trade Center, which is kind of interesting. I believe the Center Merchants Fire Department has one, if I'm not mistaken. James, if Air Force One is out of fuel during a terrorist attack, they refuel it in flight. All right, so that is something that they definitely can do in flight. They do not have to land Air Force One. They can refuel it in flight. They have a plane fly up next to it. They have like fighter jets all around it, and they completely protect it, and then they refuel it right in flight, so it does not have to land. So there's a picture of the Pentagon. Of course, now one of the real tragedies of 9/11 is, and again my head is in the way, whoop, there we go. One of the real tragedies of 9/11 is that even after the initial impact and the attack and the people who passed away, people continue to get sick to today, 2020, from all of the asbestos and building materials that when it collapsed, it gets in the air and it became poisonous, and people were breathing it in. Because they were just trying to help, and they were in the area breathing it in, and they get sick, they get cancer. It's a really terrible thing. And by that late afternoon, this is what the World Trade Center looks like. Crazy photograph. Looks like an atomic bomb hit. Now, the police department and the fire department were hit so, I can't tell you, like, they were hit so hard. They have stories of, like, entire fire departments. You know how they, like, a fire department in downtown Manhattan, like, every fireman who works at that, or firewoman who works at that fire department, like, perished in the World Trade Center attack. Because when the planes hit, they called in everyone. They were like, "Oh my God, we're under attack. There's this explosion with jet fuel," and all the firefighters, people who were off that day, they rushed into work, put their firefighting suit on, and went down to the World Trade Center. And what ended up happening is the buildings didn't collapse till like an hour after the plane hit. So it had an hour for all these firefighters to rush to the scene, and then the building collapsed on top of them. So we're talking like 350, almost 400 firefighters perished in the World Trade Center. They totally, which is, I mean, if you think about that, how many firefighters does New York City have? You know what I mean? Like, it was a good percentage of them. They have a story of a firefighter in Brooklyn who literally put his pack on, ran through the tunnel into Manhattan on foot. Because the traffic and everyone evacuating, he couldn't get the fire truck through. And so what ended up happening is he ran through the tunnel into Manhattan, got to the World Trade Center, tried to save people, and then he died. And today, every year, they do like a run through the tunnel. Pretty impressive stuff. Having gone through the events of this day, what are the questions you would like to ask? All right, so one thing I am going to show now is I'm going to show our president. at the time. We have, let me pull it up. Hold on. Where are you at? Where's the president at? Here we go. All right, so this is George W. Bush. This is the President of the United States. And this is, so after this crazy day of events happens, the president gets on TV and he addresses the nation. And I'm going to show that right now. Here we are. I'm going to take myself off. There we go. And here we are. I got to mute the music, don't I? Hold on. Hold on. All right, music is muted. Let's turn up the music. Here we go. Here we go.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shattered steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight, I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, And we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day. Yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night. And God bless America.
So you can see some of these pictures I'm throwing up here. That's me in Iraq. And basically, I just wanted to show these pictures because one of the reasons that makes 9/11 so important and why we're learning about it is not because it was an attack on America. I mean, we've had attacks before in America. They bombed the World Trade Center in the 90s with a car bomb. Oh, hold on. I got to mute this. Hold on. The events of earlier today. All right, Reagan. Let's slow your roll, Reagan. Slow your roll. No. Nope. What? Oh, there it is. Right? And so, basically, the reason why 9/11 is so impactful is because it changed so many people's lives. It was a turning point. You know, Pearl Harbor was a turning point. You had the Great Depression, you had the rise of fascism with Hitler and Mussolini in Europe, but America was anti-war. America was not getting involved in the war, right? We were staying out of it. And all of a sudden, boom, the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor. It's a turning point. It changes the perspective of America. It changes the way we believe. We go into World War II gung-ho. We fight the war. It lasts about 4.5 years. 4 years. We get out of the war, and now we're a superpower, right? We developed the atomic bomb at the end of the war, and it just changed America forever. And 9/11 is kind of like that, where it's like pre-9/11 was a different country than post-9/11. America was at peace. We were at peace throughout the 1980s. Yeah, there was the Cold War, but we weren't in active conflict. There was a tiny war called the Gulf War in 1991, very small. And then we went, and it was just a different upbringing. Like a kid growing up, we didn't have to worry about like bad economies and terrorist attacks and war. And then 9/11 happened, and you have like me, a William Floyd graduate who really had no plans on joining the military. Boom, all of a sudden I joined the military. People are aware of terrorism. Terrorism becomes like the number one thing that people are worried about. It just changed the world. It changed the America's kind of impact on it. And there you go. So, and that's why we learned about 9/11. And that's why we're showing some pictures of young Mr. Volger here. Which, by the way, I was still bald. So don't be judging me now. Ah, there you go. Chat is quiet. What happened, guys? Everyone all right? We still alive? What's going on?
I like you better with no hair.
Oh, my son likes me better with no hair. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I like me better with no hair, too.
Big point now.
It was an attack on freedom. It was. All right, let's exit out. What does what mean? What are you talking about? Can you tell us about some high-tech stuff that you used? Well, it was 2005, so anything I would tell you about, Derek, wasn't very high-tech no more. So I don't think that's going to impress you. We had something called a Blue Force Tracker, which was like a computer device, radio device that could jam like cell phone signals and electronic devices. That was pretty cool. We had something. That's not true. That was called a Warlock. A Blue Force Tracker was a computer where it had it looked like Google Maps, but it had a stylus pencil, and you could touch on the map, right? You could be like, boop, and it would show you exact coordinates for you could order in rocket strikes and things like that. It was pretty advanced. But today, we didn't have cell phone. Like the iPhone, I think, came out in 2006. So that kind of just goes to show you kind of our situation. There is one L. Which one is it? I don't know what that means. Do you know about 9/11 in the small island of Newfoundland? I don't know about that.
Also, Dad, I have a question.
That sounds interesting to me.
I have a question.
What's your question?
Which country did the terrorists come from?
Well, the terrorists were from a bunch of different countries, but primarily they were based in Afghanistan, and they were based in Afghanistan. So
Did
there you
any
go.
of the terrorists live?
Did any of the terrorists live? Yeah, there's still some are still out today, but most
No,
died
about,
or got caught.
During 9/11.
During 9/11?
Yeah.
No, they all died. Look at this. Yeah, so that's it. The last one is the yeah. It's a goat.
Why are you? Why is there a goat?
Why is there a goat?
What is that place?
It's a goat, man.
What is that place? Like, what is all of these pictures?
These are pictures from Iraq. These are pictures that me and my unit took from Iraq.
How do you guys take these pictures?
We did.
Like during battling?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, most of the time, you see pictures after battle or before battle, because during battle, like, you're not taking a picture, you're fighting. But yeah, you get the idea.
Oh, we're just having a gunfight. Let me just quickly take a picture. Boom. Lol.
Look at this Humvee.
What is that?
That's a Humvee that was exploded by an IED, a bomb.
Those, like, do I see like a person in there?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dark.
Yep, pretty dark. Anywho, so that's it.
Wait.
Can you show a video of a plane crashing, or will you get demonetized? For first of all, I'm not monetized, so that doesn't really matter. And second,
I don't think it's appropriate. I'm not going to show you. You guys can go on YouTube. You know how to use YouTube. You're watching me right now, so you can look at your own videos. That's pretty much it for today, though. You guys still have that reading and the questions. What does it say? A small island called Newfoundland had to support hundreds of planes landing in their airport after 9/11 crash. The people of Newfoundland had to feed and support everyone. Oh, that's interesting.
Wait a second.
So I think that's it for today. You still have your reading on like the birth of terrorism, and you still have your questions to answer. I'm going to get working on your, I mean, I've already started working on it, but I'm going to continue to work on your moving up ceremony. Please, 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 if you're watching this and you have not done or perfected your moving up slide, you got to get on it. And if I've already done period 2. Some kids didn't hand it in period 2. So if you're one of the kids who didn't do it at all, do it in period 2. But if you already did it and you're period 2 or period 3, it's too late to fix it. I already took JPEGs of them. So you might fix it and then you're going to see the old one because I've already done it. But if you're period 5, 6, or 9, I haven't done you guys yet. So get in there, make it look, come on, like make it look good, for real. And if you're a kid in period 2 or 3 or any period that hasn't done anything or haven't added 2 pictures, get in there and add 2 pictures. I have to have pictures of you. You can't be the only kid in the 8th grade who doesn't have a picture. It would be sad. So that's it. That's it. That's all I got for you, man. I got nothing else. I got nothing. I got nothing else. You guys ever seen my video I did? I got my video here. Hold on. Let's take a look at this video. Look how young I look there, right? I'm not even that young there. Like, this was in 2005, July 2005, so I'm 24 years old. I'm still way older than you guys. August, let me tell you something. August 8, 2005, Iraq, hot. Like, temperature-wise, smoking hot. There's a bomb going off in the distance. It's a car bomb. We call him a V-bid. That's my boy Blancourt, Joseph Blancourt. There I am, right there, with my mask on, which doesn't seem so weird anymore because now we wear masks for COVID. But you know. All right, cool. So let me see if I got. Hold on. Let me see if I got. Let me see. Let me go to my channel. I gotta go video. It's like one of the oldest videos I ever posted. I don't even, like, I gotta find it. Oh, here we go. Where is it? I made, like, an Iraq video way back in the day. No. Good Lord, I made so many videos. It's crazy. So many videos I made. Like, I have this. Maybe it's this. Is this it? Yeah. Have you guys ever seen this video? I think I showed this video on Veterans Day this year, so you guys probably saw this. The second half of this video is me though, like it's the one I made. So let me see. Here we go. Ready? I don't know how good the quality is gonna be, but we'll watch it again, Derek.
Just don't know how. Just don't know. Lighthouse will stand long on the shore.
first time I was in front of kids. How adorable. History in the making. So that's it. That's the end. It's over. So yeah, there's your video. Did you take any videos in Iraq or just pictures? No, we took videos too. I just, you know, a lot of times, you know, you got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. I was like 24, 25 in a combat zone. And a lot of it, you got some foul language flying around. You got some inappropriate symbolism and things like that. So there's only so much I can show to 13, 14-year-old kids in a classroom. So it's all vetted. You know what I'm saying? Show mine as an example, please. You must watch mine is really good. What are you talking about? You're what? James, what are you talking about? James, what are you talking about? The graduation slide. Oh, you want me to show you graduation slide? Yeah, I guess I could show you graduation slide. Hold on. Let's exit out of here. Where is the graduation slide? Let's see. James Didi. James Didi. Right here. Let me, there you are, James. Huh? What a guy. What a guy, huh? All right, there's your graduation slide. I did it. I showed it. All right, I gotta go. I got work to do, guys. I can't be sitting here hanging out with you all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Good job, Jimmy. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna leave. We're gonna play the outro, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be a wrap. That's gonna be a wrap.